Thank you for the opportunity to present our research to this fantastic audience today. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to talk about fantastic AI beasts and why we should care for robustness in their behavior, especially in healthcare. My name is Amit, and I work here at the Uni in the Art Out Center for Biomedical Engineering Research. Here's a quick overview of what the next 8 minutes is going to look like. We will broadly split this into two sections. First, we motivate what AI is and why you should even pay attention to this. Next, we focus a little more on what we want out of these systems and what we are specifically doing here at Uni Bern to address some of the requirements and challenges in the medical image analysis area with a special focus on radiation oncology. So AI is not something that's coming in the future. It's already here. There are documented examples of AI news anchors running news shows 24 hours, 365 days. You can now plan your summer vacation by chatting with an AI agent who can respond to specific requests around hotel types and flight timings. You can also proofread your email and documents using tools with a generative AI model under the hood. Nearly all these examples indicate that jobs which were full-time and were exclusively within the, in quotes, human intelligence realm are now being taken over, at least partly, by these computer programs. But what about safety critical situations? For example, here is a robot performing laparoscopic surgery without the guidance of a surgeon. Would you be willing to be operated on by a machine which was coded to perform these actions without a human intervening? There are news articles that now say, and this is not a joke, will AI eventually replace doctors? Now, medical science is some of the most involved disciplines of work, taking more than a decade of training in most cases. Would you be comfortable talking to an Alexa-like machine when you arrive, for example, at an emergency room? Would you even know if the healthcare provider is within a box, if it's human or a computer? What about driving? Humans are so bad at driving, says the CEO of an autonomous driving company, and that by 2028 drivers would be extinct, much like the dodo, as they can't keep up from a pure performance or even an economic perspective. Does this scare you? Do not fear, for AI isn't always perfect. In fact, far from it. AI systems in certain situations are just not ready for prime time utilization in safety critical tasks. They could recommend you a bad movie for the weekend and you'll be bored at the end of it, but alive and unharmed. But if it recommends that you drive into a cliff, which it has done, that's bad. Really, really bad. Or if it brakes to 7 miles per hour on a fast moving highway, that's bad. Really, really bad. What about healthcare? Through the deadly pandemic, researchers built several hundreds of AI models that claim to help them in the diagnosis of COVID-19. A recent review found all of them to be clinically useless. So now what? You see, because of how fast all of this is moving and how uncertain things are about the utility of these systems, several luminaries have asked for a 6-month moratorium in AI research. What do you think? Personally, a pause sounds nice, but I strongly believe the opposite. We need more AI research, especially focusing on robustness, to build systems that have a reasonable performance guarantee and bound. We'll delve into why in the next 4 minutes. Part of the reason why I'm here is because the Uni provided funds for the promotion of young researchers, with which, along with a few corporate sponsors, we hosted about 140 researchers for an interpretable AI symposium in March. In the next few minutes, I'd like to provide a quick overview of what this is all about. So what is AI as we know it today? Let's start with an illustration. Here's a representation of all known human knowledge or intelligence. AI is another ball, sometimes not overlapping with human intelligence, meaning that there are tasks that an AI can perform that can also be performed by humans, and tasks it can perform that humans cannot. What we've made a lot of progress on in the past decade is this green subset called supervised machine learning, which is really learning from a large set of labeled pairs of examples. For example, this is an image of a cat, this is of a dog, and so on while training, and then after we show a new image and ask what it contains. Note that there are sections of AI that is outside the realm of human intelligence. For example, this recent news that ChatGPT made a recipe of spaghetti with Coca-Cola in it. Really, really bad. Now that we've introduced these fantastic beasts to you, what do we really want their behavior to be? Here are 5 tenets of interpretable AI which we as humans can understand from a not so recent paper by Zachary Lipton. They are trustworthy, causal, transferable, informative, and fair and ethical. In the story of my research, how are we trying to get to these goals now? We'll look at that next. So what we are attempting to do is perform surgery on these AI models. What happens if we amputate a limb? Does it do its job, which we train it to, of course, better? Can it be more reliable when the inputs are unclear and ambiguous? We do this with controlled inputs to begin with, and then extend this to medical images. So here are 2 examples on medical images. Let's start with the actual images. Within the blue boxes on the left is the spleen in CT, and on the right is heart in MRI. We can artificially make these images harder to read in the red boxes or easier to read, subjectively to humans that is, in the green boxes. The columns you see to the right of these images are how these amputated models perform in these various conditions. For example, you see some situations they are horrendous, while others are reasonably good. Here's a more specific example about our search, where human experts themselves do not fully agree on what is correct and accurate. How do we train an AI model to handle situations of uncertainty and still be robust? Here you see on the left the variability in the boundaries drawn of the brainstem, with the colors indicating the radiotherapy dosage. Errors in the boundaries will lead to errors in the dose. Really, really bad. On the right are variations in the optic nerve. Being wrong by millimeters here can lead to catastrophic side effects of irradiation, blindness in this case. Here's where Cairo, the Center for AI in Radiation Oncology, recently opened here at the University of Bern, helps in building clinical tools to inform the clinicians as to where they have to be super careful about these boundaries and where they should invest more time in reviewing these. In the figures here, the regions in yellow are more important, and in blue, not so much. So to conclude really quick, we are truly in a new era. This is not a joke. Robustness, robustness, robustness. That is what we really need. There are other attributes like trustworthiness and so on that are important as well. Copilot is the current stage of evolution of these AI models, and they are likely never going to replace humans en masse. Robust AI and human common sense is good for humanity. Thank you very much for listening.